Today my adventure begins on the very lonely road known as Highway 319 here in eastern Georgia. Look at all these cows out here. They're enjoying some lovely grass today. Hope it don't rain. It has been sprinkling a little bit the last few minutes, but as of right now, I think it's okay. Well, good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch, Hiking, Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really loving my visits down here to Georgia, the Peach State. And today we're going to continue on. We're going to go hunt down a few more small towns hidden on the back roads of the great state of Georgia. I'm inviting you to come along with me. I really do appreciate it. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and begin. But before we get started, look at this, Pure gas station. Be sure with Pure, it says up there on the signage. How cool is this? This is what I call a real roadside relic. I mean, this is amazing right here. These old gas pumps, analog gas pumps. These gas pumps are not the oldest gas pumps I've ever covered here on the channels. I mean, you could see gas pumps like this back in the 80s, no problem. But, you know, 80s is like the new 60s and 70s. I mean, time's a ticking, folks. Everything's getting older. You used to think of the 80s and you're like, oh, that wasn't that long ago. But now you think about the 80s, like, man, like, you know, roughly 40 years ago now. And if you walk around the back side of the store, it looks like there's some even older pumps back here, kind of hidden away. Look at these buttes. It's a butte, Clark. It's a butte. Look at these things. Oh, wow. Yeah, man. Now that right there has got a little age to it. Don't really know what year these bad boys were, but definitely wasn't the 80s. That's for sure. All right. I think it's time to get on the road now and make our way toward our first town. First little town, that is. Small town, you know. Ain't nothing like going to small town communities in the South, man. You just never know what you're gonna find. Okay, I've made my way to Kite, Georgia, former site of the old jail. Right here. This here's the old historic city hall. And 252 people is the population for Kite. And the median age here is 41. And man, they have gutted whatever used to be here in this location. So Kite, if you've never heard of Kite, Georgia before, it is a tiny town here in Johnson County in east central Georgia. Though small today, Kite has a classic history shared by many rural Georgia communities. It's all about railroads and farming, timber, and the slow decline of small town commerce after the early 20th century. So Kite was incorporated in 1909, but the community existed before that as a farming settlement. The town developed along the railroad lines that crossed Johnson County during the late 1800s. Like nearby towns such as Wrightsville and Bartow, the railroad line was a lifeline to the community, and it allowed farmers and timber companies to ship products to larger markets across Georgia. So there are a few stories on how Kite actually got its unusual name. One local tradition says the town may have been named after the family with the surname Kite who lived here in the area. Another story claims that the name came from a railroad worker flying a kite near the tracks, though historians generally consider the family name explanation more likely. Agriculture was the backbone of Kite's economy for generations. Cotton, corn, peanuts, and timber products were major industries throughout Johnson County. During the cotton boom years in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, communities like Kite depended heavily on cotton gins, general stores, and rail depots. And right here is the United States Post Office here in Kite, Georgia, zip code 31049. So like many small southern towns, Kite was affected by the collapse of cotton prices, the Great Depression, and the migration of younger residents moving to larger cities like Macon, Savannah, and even Atlanta. Oh my goodness, look at this relic right here. Right across from the post office is this gym. What do you think this used to be? Ain't that cool? Got this old gas pump over here. Man, that thing here has got some age on it. Heck yeah. Got this old car. And right here on the hood it says Fleet Master. That's an old Chevy. Right there's the old Chevrolet emblem. Actually reads Chevrolet right there on the top part of the bumper or the grill. That is a real relic right there. And the gas pump to boot. Yeah, that just made my day. Look at that. I'm just gonna back up for a minute and just take all this goodness in right here. Yeah. All right, so now let's look at the demographics of the town of Kite. 80.41% is white, 6.53% is black, 13.06% is mixed race. Then let's look at income index. Income per capita is $33,687, and that is below the Georgia and the national averages. The median household income here is $56,446. Then we scroll down a bit, the poverty level here in Kite is 26.5%. It's definitely a little high. And then when we look at crime in Kite is non-applicable. That is a really awesome stat to have for your town. 0 crime reported. So right here we have the Kite Volunteer Fire Department, we have the City Hall, and then we have these old storefronts here that have some old chain link fencing up to keep people out, keep vandals away, I would imagine. Looks kind of like a storage place for someone, for some reason. You know, because they got all kinds of interesting weirdness going on. If we walk over here, just look at this. It's like chunks of brick with like a tree trunk grown into it or something. I don't really know what's going on there, but that's a little bizarre. And then we have just an old refrigerator chained up in its fence. Interesting, right? America the Beautiful, it says right there. Everybody's celebrating 250 years of the U.S. this year. I think next up, I kind of want to walk over here and check out these old buildings. They look pretty historic and crumbly. And this building right here has definitely got me mystified. It looks like at one time maybe this was an old ghost sign right here on the side of this building. Can't really make out what it used to say or nothing, but something was on there. Oh, they got the Kite Country Cafe across the way, which is actually open today. There's people in there going in and grabbing some food. But these old buildings here are in really, really bad shape. You can see up there at the top where it's just falling in. The roof is falling in, caving in on itself. And then when we go over here and we kind of peek through these windows, you can see the destruction. It says right here, this used to be an antique store, possibly. Still got the old signage up there, antiques, even in the window, but no antiques in there anymore. Well, there's a little bit on the wall. Look at that. Stuff still hanging on the wall from a long, long time ago. But yeah, that whole ceiling just collapsed here at this old antique store. Okay, I've walked down here to the end of the stores, and I think that is about it. That's about all there is to see. There's one more little building right across the way here. But other than that, it's a very, very small community. And looks like, unfortunately, a lot of their buildings are crumbling, and they're going to be possibly be removed sooner than later. Pretty dangerous when you got, you know, buildings like those ceilings and stuff kind of caving in on itself and whatnot. And when we first started on the other end of the town, we was making our way this way, you notice a lot of those buildings had been gutted. And matter of fact, there's something I was wanting to, I think I seen a basketball goal in one of those buildings that was gutted. Before we leave town, we're going to just peek in there real quick and take a look at that. Yeah, right here. I could have swore I seen a basketball goal. I did, look. Oh, look here. We have us a name right here at the walkway coming in. John M. Johnson. I'm sure that probably has a historical significance, but I have no idea what it is because I have no internets here. I can't look up anything. I can't even access my Google Maps here in this location. But right there it is. They got a basketball goal. And it looks like right over here was an old fireplace. Check that out. There's the old chimney. Okay. All that being said, that's going to wrap it up for the little small town of Kite, Georgia. And now I'm going to make my way to another town that's a little bit bigger than this one. And it's called Wrightsville. And a certain NFL running back by the name of Herschel Walker, who played for the Dallas Cowboys back in the 80s, actually is from there. So that's kind of cool. Pretty interesting. I actually remembered that from my research. I did not have to have notes because I cannot access them right now anyway, due to no internets, no cell service out here at all, zero. Okay, we are fixing to leave the town of Kite now. And just look at some of the properties here, and some of them are just kind of overgrown. Kind of on both sides of the road too. Look at that place. Nature is taking it back. And then when I look over here to the left, look at that old building. And I'm just astonished at some of the overgrown properties that are here in the area. And welcome to the town of Wrightsville, Georgia. Look at this courthouse. That is beautiful. The red on there. And I like how on these flags they have adorned around the building here, it says the friendliest town in Georgia. That's their motto, I guess. That is pretty cool. So Wrightsville is the county seat of Johnson County here in east central Georgia. It has long history tied to railroads, farming, and the timber industry. So the town of Wrightsville was founded in the mid-1800s and officially incorporated in 1857. The town was named after John B. Wright, an early settler and landowner here in the area when Johnson County was created in 1858 from parts of Emmanuel, Lawrence, and Washington counties. Wrightsville will become the county seat because of its central location. In its early years, Wrightsville was primarily an agricultural community. Cotton became the dominant crop here after the Civil War, and local farmers relied heavily on railroads to transport cotton, timber, farm goods to larger markets. The arrival of the railroad greatly increased the town's importance and helped it grow into a regional trade center. Ooh, look what I found. A good old Coca-Cola mural. Drink Coca-Cola in bottles. Play refreshed. Man, as hot as it is today, I could definitely go for a nice ice cold Coca-Cola. But I'm having to just settle for water, I guess. Ooh, what is this? Right across the street over here on the street corner. Looks like an old gas station with some gas pumps. Let's go over there and take a gander at that. All right, so this little location here might be called Newsom. Got their old gas pumps out here. And toward the beginning of the video, we found an old Pure gas station. And that is what that little sticker right there says on it, is Pure. Must be a popular gas brand here in the area. 100% gasoline, no ethanol. That's what I always put in my small motors, like lawnmowers, dirt bikes, stuff like that. I always put non-ethanol in small motors. Or really old cars, because they're not designed to, you know, break down all that ethanol and everything. Can gum up your injectors, that's for sure. That's a really cool mural right across the way here. It says Wrightsville. It's really neat. Greetings from Wrightsville, it says. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Wrightsville. Has a darker chapter in its history that's connected to convict leasing system and chain gangs used throughout Georgia in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. Like many rural counties, Johnson County used convict labor on road work and other projects during that era. And right across the street from where I'm standing right now is a pretty neat Ford, the Universal Car mural. That almost looks like something out of Legend of Zelda a little bit if it was gold, not blue. But it does have like that Triforce look to it, and there's like wings coming off of it. I don't know, sometimes I can be such a nerd, but nonetheless, I want to get into a little bit of numbers about the town. So the population numbers here in Wrightsville, Georgia is 3,744 souls. And the median age here is 40.3. Now let's take a look at demographics. 41.84% is white, 54.29% is black, 0.52% is Asian, and 2.53% is mixed race, and 0.82% is other race. And then we're going to look at the income index. Income per capita here in Wrightsville is $23,668, quite a bit low beneath Georgia and the national averages. And then the median household income, once again, is kind of low, $39,013. That is well below Georgia's $74,934 and the national $81,333. Then we look at the poverty rate here in town, kind of high, 29.5%. Well above the 17.8 for Georgia and the 15.1 for the national. Then we look at crime. Even though the poverty is a little high and the money is just a little bit low, it's only 1.3 people per 1,000 will actually experience a crime here. That is well below Georgia's 2.0 and the national at 2.1 per 1,000. So that's a pretty good thing. Okay, so now I'm on my way to look for the train depot, but look at that big old house. That is nice. Okay, so right here at the Johnson County Schools, this is the middle and high school. Notice that street sign right there. It says the name Herschel Walker, and that is the NFL player. It played for the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings at one point, amongst other teams. He was from this area. Okay, so I made my way over here to the railroad tracks, and that is the best place if you want to find a whole train depot, isn't it? And right here it is. This here is the historic train depot here in Wrightsville, Georgia, and it was built in 1900 by the Wrightsville and Tenniel railroads. The depot became an important transportation and business hub for Johnson County during the railroad boom of the late 1800s and 1900s. Okay, I made my way across the road from the Wrightsville Train Depot and Museum to this little jewel right here. It's called Outlaw Motor Company. And they got some gems in here. See this old VW Bug here? I love old cars, even though that's not really an old car, but these over here are definitely older. This old Bonneville right here. Oh my goodness. Memories from being 16 years old. I actually had a friend that had a Bonneville like that, very similar. It ran pretty good. I know it wasn't the sportiest car in the world, but you know, it got us around town. Did a little cruising. Look at that. That's right out of Dukes of Hazzard. Cooter Davenport. That's right. That's what that reminds me of. And then we got us an old Uncle Jesse tractor over here. Just kidding. I don't think I've ever remembered Uncle Jesse even riding a tractor in Duke Boys. Not to say he couldn't, just saying I've never seen it happen in an episode. All that being said, my friends, I am done today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here in eastern central Georgia, learn a little bit about these little small communities that we visited today. It was really awesome, had a lot of fun, got to see some cool stuff. Some old gas pumps, there always gets me psyched to see gas pumps. I don't know why, but old gas pumps just are awesome. And the no-sims have not been as bad today, even though there's one flying around like right now. He's messing with me. He don't like my sunglasses. He would love to get inside my glasses like in my eyes right now. I know he would, but he can't. All that being said, I'm done today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, friends, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti. I will see you on my next adventure. Y'all stay safe. Hope to see you all again soon. And you know what? That's a big old storm a-coming. I've been hearing some rumbling. It's time to go get in the car and get on out of here. And that's just what I'm gonna do.